4 seasons lost. In Austin, I saw it. Pause. My eyes crawled to a table. Paralyzed by pairwise dice, then attend to this heaven slice of an angel wrapped in skin. Or dice and woes of life. Love deprived, looking to revive. What's the meaning of life? One subjective paradise. Crystal chandeliers, motives reflected. Often mirrors appear clear, ready from ear to ear. Craving and raining in grain, rekindle the flame. Close as she draws near. Stay there, remove your underwear, shove it somewhere over there. In paradise, in paradise, we know our purpose. In paradise, we know what our worth is. In paradise, we manifest dreams.
Hey everybody, and welcome to this edition of the Unpopular Hour. Of course, I'm your host, Matt Clark, and I'll just say what a great weekend for sports. First of all, I want to give a shout out to my guys at Collaborative Logic. My computer updated with Windows, and then restarted, and I couldn't get any of my OBS to work with my my mixer. It was just an absolute mess. Couldn't get it to work, and so the guys came in today and cleaned it up for me this morning so that we can be back on the air this afternoon. And of course, remember, we'll be starting our remote broadcast tomorrow. We're going to be, of course, hanging out, getting with my boys and having a little BBQ. And then probably sometime next week or the week after, we're going to be adding speakers. So, because I had a couple people last time I was at George's Happy Hog, had some people that couldn't, the people close to me could hear me, but the people in the back really couldn't. So we're going to start adding speakers so those that are in the restaurant can listen to the live stream and be able to, kind of communicate or go back and forth. And then we will be adding a deal where you can call in if you do have questions or there's some things you want to say. So anyway, my guys over at Collaborative Logic, I want to thank those guys for getting me up and going. So, but anyway, let's start out because Drew Henthorne, my boys, come in. He went to New Orleans, of course, this past weekend for our boys' 50th birthday party, and the NFL draft was this weekend. So he and I had talked a little bit about that. We were ready to go on Thursday, kind of deciding who we thought we were going to do, and then of course we tried to come back on Friday. Couldn't get anything to work, and of course now that we've got everything going, so we're going to go over the draft picks. The first round picks, just the first top 10, and of course the Chiefs and the Cowboys picks. We'll be going in depth about those, and then we will be talking about the NBA playoffs. But let's go straight to the draft picks. The Jaguars, of course, had the number 1 overall pick. They took Trayvon Walker. The Lions, Aiden Hutchinson. The Texans, Derek Stingley Jr., which I thought was a surprise. They took a quarterback instead of an offensive tackle, but I thought that they were going to take Ike Ekwonu, the offensive tackle from North Carolina State, but they did not. The Jets, of course, took Sauce Gardner. They had a very good draft, by the way. The Giants, Kevon Thibodeau, the edge rusher from Oregon, one of the best edge rushers in the country in college. The Giants had a good draft as well, taking Evan Neal and then Kevon Thibodeau. So they took those. The Panthers, of course, taking an offensive tackle. And then, of course, later on they did take a quarterback. Falcons, Drake London, the wide receiver from SC. I thought that was an interesting pick for them. Seattle, offensive tackle. What a shocker. The Seahawks love to run the football. And the question is, who are they going to use at quarterback? Are they going to take Baker? Now that Baker is still with the Cleveland Browns, that deal fell through at draft time over the Panthers. And I just think that the Browns were just asking too much. I think you need to get rid of Baker. I mean, it's just, you got 3 quarterbacks. You obviously know you're not going to keep him on the roster. Just go ahead and pay the money or cut him so we can move on and see where he's going to go. But I do believe, just like I think Baker does, that his landing spot will be the Seahawks, because you look at who they have, the 3 quarterback options. Are you really going to go into the year with those 3 guys? Are you kidding me? That is just pathetic on their part. Whereas the Jets and the Giants did take the most of their 2 top-ranked picks. Of course, the Jets taking Thibodeau, and then, of course, Garrett Wilson, the wide receiver from Ohio State. So they got 2 quality picks. And so I'm looking at, of course, the Jets also got the running back from Iowa State, Priest, home. So they should be right there. Now you look at the Chiefs. Of course, the Chiefs came up. Chiefs, remember, before the draft, had the 29th and 30th pick via the Tyrone, via our boy that, God, my mind has just went blank on Tyreek Hill. And so anyway, they moved up and got the 21st overall pick with that, and then the Cowboys, of course, took the head scratcher and Tyler Smith. I don't know who was worse, that Tyler Smith or New England's pick. I think they're both kind of right there together. Cowboys, of course, being the most penalized team in all of NFL, and then you pick the most penalized offensive lineman in all of college football. So I guess they are consistent. They like to be penalized on the offensive line. So most penalized teams. So they, of course, what do you want to do? Hey, go get a guy that fits in our system. We like to be penalized. Let's get the most penalized guy in football. Of course, the Chiefs took George Karlaftis, the edge rusher from Purdue, which I thought was an interesting pick. And of course, we're going to go over the Chiefs and the Cowboys picks today. So, but anyway, now that we've got that kind of out of the way, we're going to go and pivot to the NBA. And then, of course, we're going to pivot back at the second part of the show. We're going to go over the Cowboys and the Chiefs picks and break those down a little further in detail. But we're going right now, the NBA playoffs is front and center. And let's go with the scores from yesterday's games, which were quite surprising. The Bucks handled the Celtics pretty easily. I thought that was a surprise. I thought that the Bucks were going to struggle more with the Celtics, but they had a great game plan. The Bucks went big right off the bat and forced the Celtics to come in and break away from their three-point game, which probably was a mistake. I don't think the Celtics was expecting that. So great move by the Bucks and the Bucks coaching staff to get that first win in. And you remember, all you want to do is get one on the road. Now all of a sudden you do have home court advantage because it goes back to your home place, and of course you have 4 games at home. So the Bucks did get what they want, and what I've talked about many times, the first game is always the easiest game to get on the road, simply because it's the first game. Teams are doing whatever, got players, got family, got all these obligations for tickets and on and on and on. Tons of distractions. So if you're going to get a game, usually that first game is the game that you get. And, of course, the Bucks took full advantage. Of course, Giannis having a triple-double and just being the beast that he is. And, go back and forth between Kevin Durant and him as the best players. I still think Kevin has an advantage over him. I like him better than I do Giannis because Kevin Durant healthy, I think, just gives you so much more than Bucks. But even though Kevin Durant did not show up at all in the playoffs, let's call it what it is. I'm the type of guy, if you're great, I'm going to give you accolades. If you don't do what you're supposed to do, I'm going to call you out. On the other hand, the Grizzlies and the Warriors, what a game that was. The Warriors, of course, still in game 117, 116, and I'm just still Draymond. I just don't understand you, bro. Sure, you fouled the guy, no question, but you grabbed his jersey. I've never seen that before. And you say your hand got caught. How'd your hand get caught? You were in the middle of his jersey. It wasn't like you were on the end of his jersey. You were in the middle of his jersey. How did your hand get caught? You did it on purpose. Then you leave the game. After the game, you give your boy some love, and then you don't even go to the media. You go straight back to your hotel room, and you do your podcast so you can get some hits and some looks to build up your followers on your podcast. The NBA is not going to be happy about that, and all you've done is made yourself more of a target. Once again, people get caught up in social media and get caught up in, I'm this and I'm that. Bro, what are you doing? Be smart. You're one of the best players in the NBA. Now, I do agree your reputation probably hurt you in that situation. Do I think it was a flagrant 2? Yeah, it was real close. And I think had you not had the history you had, like kicking Steven Adams in the nuts when he was playing for us in Oklahoma City, doing the things that you did, then probably you may have gotten away with the flagrant one. But being who you are, doing your past history, yeah, they gave you a flagrant two. Then you're going to act a fool on your way out. These guys just don't get it. But what is he doing? He's building his brand for his likes for after the NBA when he can do his podcast. And bro, let me tell you, when you're done, they don't care about you. They're not gonna care about you. It's just sad. How many times you gotta hurt your team? Kyrie, you hurt your team. It's not about you, it's about your team. It's not about you, it's about your team. Put your team before you. Let's face it, when you guys had the best record in the history of the NBA, people say what they want to and say, oh, Cleveland would have won anyway. Bull. You had Cleveland on the ropes. You were up 3-1. And still, I don't know what you was doing kicking LeBron. What was you doing? Just stupid. It was just stupid what you did. You cost your team the championship. And you know you did. And you can say that Cleveland was going to win. There wasn't no way, Cleveland was going to win because you had them in the ropes, you had them down, you were kicking their butts, and then you gave them a chance and gave them life. And anytime you give somebody life, of course, you're the only team in history to go 3-1 and get beat in the finals. And then you do this again. When is enough going to be enough for you, dude? When are you going to learn? Now, Golden State did get lucky because Memphis is Memphis. Memphis is young. Memphis doesn't know what they're doing yet. They are an ascending team. They're coming for you. Now, Steve McCurr made some good points about what are the differences between the regular season and the postseason and how the differences they make. And I can trust you, Memphis. Klay Thompson's not going to miss 2 free throws at the end of the game. In the NBA, I don't know how the hell you have 3 referees and none of y'all saw the ball go off the Memphis player at the end of the game? None of y'all? Now, were you trying to, give Memphis the game and give them a chance? That's what you did. But clearly, that ball went off. And then how the hell is that not reviewable? So is it not reviewable because you didn't make a call? Stupid. If there's an indecision, none of you saw it, the first thing you do is go to the monitor. That should be the first thing you do. If none of y'all saw it, which that's kind of hard to believe. You have 3 guys who are making $200,000 or whatever you make a year, and now one of you saw the ball go off of Memphis out of bounds? Interesting on how that take is. That being said, let's look at what's going to happen tonight in the NBA playoffs tonight. The Mavericks and the Suns, and I'm looking forward to that one because we get to see Luka, and we should see exactly how that's going to work. I know we're going to go over my boy Drew Henthorne's picks. I do believe he took the Suns and the points. I think the Suns are -5. But we'll go over Drew's picks here in a minute. In this, I just don't know how well Devin Booker's hamstring is. He's had a couple more days rest. If the Mavericks are going to get one, it would be this one, I think, because I just don't know. I don't know how healthy he is, but I think the Suns should win because I don't think the Mavericks match up well with them at all. And if DeAndre Ayton is playing the way he should play, I don't think they have a chance. On the other side, the Sixers and the Heat, the big fella missing 2 games because of what happened with his eye and why was he in the game. I'm a firm believer that he was still in the game, talking about Joel Embiid, when he got hurt in Game 6. I think that if they're up 30 with 4 minutes to go. The only reason why he was in the game, it has something to do with him trying to reach a bonus, whether that was minutes, whether that was points, rebounds, assists. There had to be a reason why he was still in the game up 30 with 4 minutes to go, because Doc Rivers is never going to let that happen under normal circumstances. So either that or he was so nervous about winning, thinking they were going to come back and bite into the lead, that he left him on the floor to make sure that he could come back. But I believe that there had to be something else in there, the reason why he left him in the game. But of course, it hurt him. But once again, if you go home and handle your business in the first place, if you handle your business in the first place, uh, then that wouldn't be an issue. There wouldn't be an issue. Handle game 5. Don't get beat by 20 at home in a closeout game. If you handle your business at home, there's no issues. But did you handle your business? No, you did not. What did that mean? You opened the door for you to play Toronto in a game 6. Embiid got hurt. Now you're going to miss. He's going to miss at least the first 2, if not 3 games of the playoffs. And if you go down like 0-2 against Miami, could you win? Sure, because you could come back and win 2 games at home, 3 games, whatever, but you still got to go back to Miami. Then he's out of sync. He's got to get back in sync. But, of course, we saw with Luka. Luka came back, acted like he didn't miss a beat, but the Mavericks had to regroup, lost that game, came back, and then, of course, finished off the last 2 in a row with Luka. So I'm just interested to see what's going to happen. But like I said, in that Mavericks-Suns game, man, I just don't know. If you put my feet to the fire, I would say I'd probably want to take Phoenix at home. But the chance of Chris Paul coming back and doing that magnificent performance that he had on Thursday night, going 14 for 14. Of course, most of y'all know when you're at a black barbershop, I mean, everybody talks sports. I mean, it's packed. It's packed. Now, the way that the barbershop that I go to cutting up, it's an older group. It's just broken up in 2 different little rooms. So it's actually 4 rooms. And in the back of the salon or the shop are the 2 women, and they do the women's hairs and things like that. But in the front, there's 2 younger guys. And then in the second part, that's where the owner and the other guy, Lee, are. My boy, Keith Burton and Lee. They're both back there. So it's funny when you're sitting there, you're listening to these young guys, and, they're going back and forth, and you realize that they're just young and they have their opinions, but it's like, what are you talking about? I mean, some of the stuff they're saying is just insane. It really is. But I'm planning on doing one of my live streams there. I think I'm going to try to do it either on a Friday or Saturday when I get done at Santa Fe Family Life Center, and then go over there to the barbershop and cutting up and do one so you guys can kind of listen in to some of their conversations, because the stuff they say, I'm just like, what the hell are you talking about? The one kid was talking about how LeBron is the best defensive player in the NBA. What? Greatest point guard of all time. What? So those are some of the things that they just... Anyway, it's insane. But we're talking about Luka and we're talking about the Suns, and, they were asking me about Larry Bird and, blah, 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 because, I'm old school. And I said, all I know about Larry Bird is everything y'all said, we said. This is back when black-white was black-white. And everybody looked at Larry Bird, he's a white guy, he can't, the boy could play. And he's still the only guy that I've ever heard of that played a whole game with his left. Told the guys, y'all don't deserve my right hand. This is NBA, guys. Y'all don't deserve my right. I'm just going to give you my left for 25 or 26 or whatever he had. What is left? Free throws was left, layups was left, shots was left. Did not use his right hand one time. Not Jordan, not Kareem, not Magic, not Tim Duncan, not, Bill Russell. Well, Bill Russell was left, so he had to use his right. Not one player I've ever heard of, I've ever seen, used his opposite hand for a complete game other than Larry Bird. Still the only guy to do that. So when you look at him, like, can he play? Yes. Is Luka the next Bird? He's only been in the league 3 or 4 years. He's on his way to be there. He's close, but he ain't Larry. Because one, he don't shoot the ball well enough under clutch to do that. Like Pat Riley said, if I had to have a guy to take the last shot, I want it to be Michael Jordan. If my life depended on it, I want to be Larry Bird. And like we talked about, before, my greatest top 5 are Magic Johnson at the point, Michael Jordan at the 2, Kareem at the center, Tim Duncan at the 4, which may change because I have 3 guys at the 4 right now. I have Tim Duncan, Kevin McHale, and KG. And my threes are, which is small forward, is Dr. J, Larry Bird, and LeBron. And right now, I probably have to barely give it to LeBron, but man, you guys unfortunately didn't get a chance to see Dr. J. He was unbelievable. And like I tell people, there was Connie Hawkins, then there was Dr. J, then there was Michael Jordan, and then there was Kobe. That's it. That's it. And Anthony Hardaway probably, had he not got hurt, probably Penny Hardaway probably could have been in there, but unfortunately he got hurt and he didn't make it. But if anybody could have been, it probably been him. So I look at that and I fit LeBron in there, and because to me, the greatest player of all time is Michael Jordan. The most skilled player of all time is Kobe Bryant. And the best all-around player used to be Magic. Now I have to say it's LeBron because LeBron is more athletic. So that's kind of how my picks. So when I look at this time, when I look at what's going on, and I look at Phoenix and the Mavericks, you know what? I think I'm going to take the Mavericks in the upset. And let's go to my boy Drew Henthorne's picks, because we're going to go over that. Now, he has the Sixers plus 7.5. He thinks that they will lose, but he's going to take them and the points, which is I don't have an issue with that, but I think because the Heat, you don't know which team, the one is going to knock down a bunch of threes, just kill you, or the team's going to pound you. So if the team that pounds you, I think that's a good pick. And who knows which James Harden's going to show up, but he's going to see a lot of Jimmy Butler. The Suns -5. That's kind of what I was talking about there. The Suns -5. I just don't know. I think I do like the Suns, but I think I'm going to go ahead and go opposite of Drew on this one and probably take the Mavs in an upset. Because, like I said, I don't know what our boys. I don't know how well he's hurt. I don't know how bad his hamstring is, and so we'll see how that works out. And then, of course, I do agree with him. The Suns and the Mavs, I think they're going to score more than 214 points. I really believe that. I think Devin Booker, like I said, I don't know how bad he's hurt, but if he's healthy, then that's going to be a great pick for the Suns. But I just don't know. But that's why I think I'm going to go ahead and take the Mavs. And, of course, Drew and his damn Braves. Money line -105. He can't help with those damn Braves. I mean, he cracks me up with the freaking Braves. I mean, that's his team. And I'm sure when we branch into when college basketball starts, we're going to have to hear every week about, let's get on them Tar Heels. Whatever, bro. You better put some Deutsche Cowboys in there, and at least OU or something. You better throw something else in there, because we know the Duke. I think their run has come and gone. I think they're probably still going to do okay, but people were going there because of Coach K. Like I've explained many, many times on my live stream, people don't go to school because of the school. They go there because of the coach, and that's why I'm a firm believer that kids should be able to leave and go away for 1 year and transfer if they want to in 1 year. They should be able to do that. After that, you have to sit out a year. I don't think you'll be able to just go school to school to school. I don't think that's right. But I think you'll be able to, if you want to leave, leave. Because the way it was before, your coach, you go there, and if he leaves, you're screwed. You leave, you have to sit out a whole year, which I think that was completely unfair. And I like the fact of what the NCAA has done by allowing that. So now let's get into the brackets, and let's see what's happening over here in the conference semifinals. Miami against Philly, like I said, that's going to be a great game. I'm really looking forward to watching that game. Miami and Philly, I think that I still think that Miami is going to get them. I don't think Philly. I just don't know if James Harden, he doesn't excite me when it comes to the playoffs and being able to finish. I'm just not that big of a fan of his. You look at Milwaukee and Boston. Milwaukee, of course, took care of business yesterday, and they lead 1-0 against them. So tomorrow night, they'll play against each other again in Game 2 in Boston. And then when you look down, Golden State and Memphis, what a game that was. I think Golden State definitely did what they wanted to do is go in there and still won, because I think if Memphis wins yesterday, I think Golden State's in trouble. I think Memphis has momentum, and I think that would have hurt them. But Golden State did get the job done, went in there and got game one and lead the series 1-0. Phoenix and Dallas, once I say it again, man, I know Drew's got the Phoenix -5. But I don't know. I just don't know how healthy Booker is. And like I said, I think I'm going to go ahead and go outside the box and kind of go against him on that one, and going to take the Mavs in an upset, because what we've basically seen is Milwaukee won on the road, Golden State won on the road. Now, if history compared to what we saw in round one, if history repeats itself, that means that Dallas is whoever has the home seed, which of course is Phoenix, they'll win their first round game. Miami will win their first round game, because remember, the first two teams in the deal won. The first two away teams won the first two games, and then the home teams took care of business after that. But that being said, I truly, truly believe that I think Dallas has an opportunity to go in there and still win. So that's kind of what I'm going to do on that. I'm going to go ahead and pick the Mavs in an upset on that one. I think, like I said, Drew had them in his Drew Hit Throwing Picks. Husker Drew Picks. .com. That's who he has. But anyway, let's go take a quick break. We're going to go back to our sponsors. Of course, here are my guys, and I'll talk about each and every one of them when we get back. So everybody be patient. I'll be right back. Hello, everybody, and welcome back. And like I said, I'd like to thank my sponsors, Collaborative Logic. Once again, thanks to Russell and the boys for getting me back online and getting me all fixed up. Guys at SRB for any engineering, surveying, and planning that you need as far as any layouts. Those guys are ones. Of course, Oak Grove Trucking, my boy Jose Fierro, if you guys need anything hauled off. And of course, NAFCO, the guys that do pretty much everything. Okay. Anyway, back to what we're saying. We're going to talk now more about, I said we're going to come back and talk about the second part of the show. We're going to be talking about, the Dallas Cowboys and their draft, which I was scratching my head. I'm still scratching my head. And I've seen a lot of people try to give a grade on them. I don't really have an NFL football team. NFL is the only sport that I do not have a team. I have a team in every other sport. I just do not have. I even have a hockey team, or hockey teams. But I don't really have an NFL team. It's really weird. I just kind of like players. I don't really like teams. I like players more than the teams. So anyway, let's talk about the picks, the Dallas Cowboy picks, and who they drafted. In the first round, their first three picks, and if you saw Jerry Jones's press conference and the Cowboys press conference, he showed his sheet, which his son Stephen wasn't overly thrilled about. But he said that these are the three guys that they were going to take. Tyler Smith, of course, the offensive tackle from Tulsa. And we talked about him earlier and how he was the most penalized guy in all of college football. Of course, the Cowboys being the most penalized team in all of professional football, so that completely obviously made sense to them. Then, of course, Sam Williams, the edge from Ole Miss. Yeah, he was all SEC in 2021. But I like him. I mean, if you're all SEC, you got to have something going for yourself. So that one, there was a couple guys up front, but they needed somebody to go on the other side of D-Law, and they needed somebody to go with Michael Parsons. So you could probably put those three guys. They missed Randy Gregory, so I guess clearly that's the replacement for Gregory. Round three, Jaylen Watson, the wide receiver of South Alabama. I'm like, and we'll talk about the Chiefs draft picks. I'm like, why wouldn't you go get one of the guys like the Chiefs got? The guy the Chiefs got, we'll talk about him here in a little bit. But, Jalen Tolbert was the guy that they liked. That's who they wanted. Um, it's interesting that he's number 88. I thought that was interesting that they picked number 88. They took a wide receiver. So maybe they're trying to bring up the ghost of their first all-world wide receiver or second all-world wide receiver. Well, clearly, Bob Hayes was the first. The second was Drew Pearson, which, once again, the NFL and how it took them so long to get him in the Hall of Fame, I still don't know. I mean, how can you make the All-70s team and everybody in the All-70s team be in the NFL in the the Hall of Fame but you? I didn't get that, just like Jerry Kramer. I mean, how are you on the 50th greatest players in the history of the NFL, or you were, the 100, and then you're not in the Hall of Fame? That just absolutely makes zero sense to me. Round four, they took Jake Ferguson, the tight end from Wisconsin. And a lot of people down there. I like Wisconsin. I like the players. I mean, any of their skilled guys, they have very skilled guys at tight end, wide receiver, running back. They usually have very skilled position guys. So I have zero issues with that now. Could they have taken somebody they thought was better? Yes, but clearly Jake fit what the Cowboys were looking for. Um, when you look at, they had 4 fifth-round picks, which why wouldn't you trade up and get somebody else? But clearly the Cowboys were wanting to go out and they're building for the future, clearly, because I don't know how many of these guys, other than maybe Tyler Smith, who you're going to have to move to guard, and Sam Williams and Tolbert, maybe those only 3 really maybe will play. Jake Ferguson, possibly. But I mean, but you never know. Injuries do happen, and they took another offensive tackle from North Dakota. So when I look at that, I'm going, okay. I see you're feeling some needs. You're feeling, you took 2 offensive tackles, and you took a defensive tackle. So I figure you're building up the interior. But when you look at the grade of these guys before they got drafted, and where some of the scouts said they were going to go, which to me is a bunch of crap because it's so hard to say what somebody is and is not going to be in the league. You don't know what they're going to accomplish unless you have a team that has a track record of picking players and being able to find these players and turning them into perennial all-pros. Then, yes, you can just draft guys that nobody really heard of that you can make a mark on. And the Chiefs have been very good at that. By the way, and the Cowboys for the last few years have been really, really good at picking people. But when I look at this draft and I'm going, who? I look at Deron Bland, cornerback from Fresno State. What? Huh? Okay. 167, that's what you came up with? Damone Clark, the linebacker from LSU. Hell of a player before he had spinal fusion surgery. So what is that going to mean? Could mean nothing. He could come back. I mean, you look at Tiger, what he did. You look at Peyton Manning and what he did. So, and he is way younger than both of those guys when they did have spinal fusion surgery and what they did. So we'll see how that works. But, he was at LSU. He was a hell of a linebacker when he was there. So, that's a shot. Who knows if that's a year from now, that's 2 years from now. But when I look at most of these players, I look at Dallas, you're 2 years away. You're 3 years away with a lot of these guys. None of these guys are really going to come up and necessarily make an impact right away. That's what I see when I look at this. I don't see any of these guys stepping up and just being outstanding players right away. Of course, then you have John Ridgeway, the defensive tackle from Arkansas. He did play defensive tackle in the SEC. In Arkansas, they did have a decent defense, but I just don't see. He did play against the NFL talented and offensive linemen. So we'll see how that marks. And, of course, Devin Harper, our boy from Okie State, the linebacker. And I do like Devin, but like I said, I still think he's a year, 2 years away. And most of these guys that look at Dallas Cowboys, they're 2 years away, most of these guys, from being really, 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 really good defensive players. In the league, they're a couple years away. So what you did is you drafted a bunch of prospects for the future. Now remember, you're trying to win now because in 3 years, you got to pay Dak $52 million. in 2025. So I don't really know what you're doing right now, Cowboys. I guess you all have a plan. You all know what you're doing. Uh, but if I have to give a draft grade, man, I gotta give you a D. I just don't. I just don't see it. I don't understand the thought process behind it. But I'm gonna try to get one of my boys on who played in the league or who are very good football players, and maybe they can dissect it for me and explain it for in detail. Because when I look at this, I'm thinking if I'm trying to win now, I'm trying to get out draft guys who possibly can help me win this year, next year at the absolute latest, not 2, 3 years from now. Because when you look at Jordan Poole got drafted a couple years ago. He's just now in year 3, really, really flourishing. So is that what you're doing? You're drafting guys who are going to flourish 2, 3 years from now? Because your boy's gone by then. Where are your running backs going to be? Who are your offensive linemen? They're going to be beat up. I mean, what are you going to do at that point? Now, clearly, you drafted Smith to take Tyron Smith's place at tackle. Clearly, that's why we did that. We get that. Next year after, because who knows if he can even be able to survive. So I'm going to give Dallas a D on it. I'm going to have to call. I'm going to just have to talk to one of my boys and get him on and let him discuss it further because, like I said, I really, really know basketball. I can break it down. Baseball, I know pretty well. I can break it down. Football, I can break it down. But once again, it's just my opinion. And, I'm not necessarily opinion and understanding and give you insight like I could do in basketball aren't quite the same. So I'm just giving my overall opinion just like you'll have one. And ours could very well differ, and it is what it is. But I've got to give them a D thus far on what they did. And now, once we go into Kansas City Chiefs, and I look at what the Chiefs have did. First of all, remember they had the 29th pick. They traded up with the New England Patriots, which I didn't even put them on there. Their draft was so bad. We're not even going to discuss what they did. But the Chiefs went up and they got the cornerback from Washington, Trent McDuffie, and I really liked just the tape I saw on this kid. And they got him later. They didn't expect him to be that this because they had him. A lot of sources had him like one of the top 15 players in the draft this year, and of course, he did not go to 21, and the Chiefs, of course, moved up to get him because they do not think he would have been around at 29. So they traded up, gave up some picks with the Patriots in order to get McDuffie and the Patriots moved back down to get the offensive guard from, what was it, South Dakota State or South Carolina State or wherever it was. I forgot it. I was just so wow. My man went blank on that. Of course, on the 30th overall pick, they took George Karlaftis, the defensive end from Purdue. I liked what I saw in this kid, but he still needs to be able to finish more because, if you watch the boy, he was in the backfield a lot, but he couldn't finish. Now, he did set it up for cleanup. Now, of course, you got Frank Hart in there. You got Chris Jones. So if you can get your guy on hands on somebody, spin him around, and make him do something else, then, of course, those two guys can't finish the deal. So maybe that's what they were doing, is getting someone with higher energy to get them going and then let them finish them off. And, of course, in round 2, number 54, they took Skye Moore, and who dropped 5 passes in his career. That's insane. That's crazy. 5 passes. And I remember listening to Brett Veach, and he was saying, because you ever watching him, and we're just talking about ourselves because it's catch. And then he dropped one, and they're like, whoa, did he just drop a pass? So that's kind of funny that the way that they did. I thought that was kind of funny on what happened with that. But anyway, Skye Moore. So the Chiefs are very, very well with their first top 3 picks. They got exactly who they wanted. They did some move around to get what they wanted in Trent McDuffie. But, of course, they already had that 30th pick. Then, of course, they got Skye Moore. And then Brian Cook, the safety from Cincy. And, of course, he played in the backfield with Sauce Gardner, the cornerback, who's one of the top-rated cornerbacks in the draft from Cincinnati, which is interesting. I like the way he saw on that. Leo Chenal, linebacker from Wisconsin. we know he can run block or he can stop the run. Question is, in a pass-happy league, in a pass-happy division, is he really going to fit in? Now, of course, the Chiefs need to get rid of some of the guys they got rid of, and thank God they did, which is going to allow him to do it. They've gotten younger, and of course, freed up a bunch of cap space where they can go out and maybe get him another veteran if they need. And then you go to round 4, number 135 overall, Joshua Williams, the cornerback from Fayetteville State. Uh, Maybe that's another pickup for them that none of us really could see coming. But I do trust the Chiefs and their draft room and their personnel. And Brett Veach, he does a great job. And in fact, remember, he's the one that saw Patrick Mahomes before Patrick Mahomes what anybody else did. So he's really been really good at what the Chiefs have done draft-wise thus far. And you look at, L'Jarius Sneed, nobody saw him being who he is. And Willie Gay, they went up and got him. So, they hit on quite a few of their picks. Darren Kennard, the offensive tackle from Kentucky, saying how he's going to play with a chip on his shoulder. You did play in the SEC. You did really well. You're about where you should have been drafted-wise by everybody's draft board. But if you feel slighted, big fella, then go handle your business and show them why you deserve to be higher. Jaylen Watson, the quarterback from Washington State, once again, shoring up that backfield, getting as many guys as they can in the back because, remember, that's where they were killed last year with injury. And it just cost them late. So you got to be able to get more defensive backs. That's something, especially in the AFC, the way you got as many guys as you can throw the ball, especially just in the Chiefs division alone with Herbert, Carr, and, of course, the new boy on the block, Russell Wilson. And then, of course, you have Josh Allen and your boy from Cincinnati. Don't forget him since they got to the Super Bowl, which they're going to find it's a lot harder coming back than it was getting there. So another running back or another cornerback, Jaylen Watson from Washington State. Round 7 again, number 251. Ajay Pacheco, the running back from Rutgers. The guy runs with he runs with abandon. He runs with a purpose. I like what he does. He's very tough and short yardage, and the Chiefs definitely need some of that because they've got Clyde Edwards-Helaire that they can do all the other stuff with. So that's going to be interesting to see what happens with him. But their running back room, I think they have strengthened that up quite a bit. And then another run on 7th pick, number 259, Najee Johnson, the safety from Marshall. So once again, the Chiefs drafted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 guys in the secondary, and 6. So 6 guys of those. What is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10. 6 of the 10 guys were on the defensive side. Of course, 1 running back, 1 offensive tackle, 1 wide receiver, and then of course the rest were all defensive players. So that being said, the Chiefs look like they did a lot better than what the Cowboys did. So if I'm going to give the Chiefs a grade, I'm going to probably give them a B+. But once again, you're not going to know until the season starts and where you can actually see who does what and how well teams do. So we'll see how that was. But I do trust Brett Veach and the coaching staff there at Kansas City. So once again, I remind everybody, we will be starting to go out on the road like we went out last week. We will be going out and doing a lot more remote broadcasts. Like I said, tomorrow we're going to be at a barbecue place, one of my favorite barbecue places. The following Thursday, I believe we're going to probably either Wednesday or Thursday, probably Wednesday for Women Only Wednesday. I may be over to check out my boy because Women Only Wednesday, Wings Wednesday. On Thursday, we'll be doing our first Thunder postseason broadcast, and every Thursday we'll be after the storm on Thursday. So we'll be calling it the Thursday's Thunder Special on After the Storm. So we'll be to every Thursday. You'll be able to key in, and we're going to talk about here's the Thunder, here's the draft. We're going to break down the players, who did what, who I think needs to stay, who I think needs to go. So everybody for sure stay tuned to After the Storm on Thursdays. Remember, every Thursday we won't be doing the Unpopular Hour. We will be doing Thunder Thursdays. and after the storm. So anyway, look forward to that. Just remember, every day we're going to be doing something new. We're going to be bringing it to you. So start checking us out. Please go to mcsportsnetwork.com. You can pop it on and look at us on YouTube and all the different shows. Anything you missed, you can go back and watch. So we're going to do that. And then also, please remember to go to YouTube. If you do have a YouTube account, go into the Unpopular Hour / Matt Clark, subscribe, and hit the like button. Once again, I want to thank you for watching the Unpopular Hour. I'm your host, Matt Clark. You guys be safe. Peace out.